my knowledge, of course, don't quote me on this one, right?
We're not.
Stress comes
I'm
from
joking.
worrying about things you can't control, right?
Correct.
You said psycho. What was it called? Psycho.
So psychosomatic.
Psychosomatic.
Mm-hmm.
Psychosomatic.
Yeah.
Right. If it's mental, so because I'm in the CMOS work, but I had to do my research about the CMOS. So Dr. Sabi always talks about how the food affects your mood.
I think you should stop saying you're in the CMOS work. I think you should start saying you're more in the holistic.
Holistic,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I never looked at it like that.
No,
So
because
it's always a different.
you are literally you're helping others. You're like a health provider.
Well, appreciate
Yeah,
it.
that's
Thank you.
So you're
I
a
never-
holistic
I
guy,
never looked
holistic
at
health
it like-
provider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so I asked that because, of course, like I said, mentally, what you think about expands majority of the time, of course, right? So even like how you said, Maury, the girl said she's pregnant. Somehow she became pregnant. That's weird as hell, but at the same time, stuff like that happens. Like I'm successful. Someone could be the brokest person in the world. I'm successful. Next thing you know, a year and a half later, they got everything that they want, right? So, would you say, because you're in the holistic field, of course, also, right? Food would be something you may prescribe or say, like, listen, what are you doing? What does your diet look like?
I mean,
Are you,
good question. That was what I was gonna ask.
like, remember when I was saying, like, we don't focus on pharmaceutical, but we focus on, the biggest one we focus on is neurology.
Yes,
So neurological conditions, but we also focus on nutrition because when I think about it, going to school, the three things, like when we talk about disease, we don't look at the word disease as like disease, because like disease, it's got its own definition, but we look at it as like dis-ease, like I'm not at ease.
Did you study Latin?
No, I didn't. I wish I did.
I
Because
feel
it
like
made
you
my life
have, because
easier.
you break up words
No, but
really well.
the way I look at it is like
Body,
dis-ease.
Yeah,
like
but
your
even when you
body's
did
at-
chiropractic, the study of hands.
Yep.
Your body should be at ease at all time. But what's causing your body to be at dis-ease? There's three things that I personally think causes it. There's thoughts, toxins, and trauma. So where you come in, when you talk about CMOS, you're talking about toxins, things you ingest. So like you eating Burger King all day, like McDonald's all day. I mean, like,
there we go.
don't
That's
get me
what I
wrong.
mean.
There-
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not gonna
what-
sit there and bash people that eat it because, like, if you can afford to go
Right.
buy all this stuff,
Gotcha,
like, you have to
yeah.
live within your means. So I totally respect that. Don't have any problem with that. But I always tell people, I'm like, if you have a little bit of time, spend the time. Buy the product and cook it because it'll probably last a couple of days. And that way you don't have to buy and eat out every single day. And that toxin that you put in your body can actually cause you to age and feel sick.
Yeah.
That's where you come in when you say, eat things like,
That's
yeah,
when
we do
contact me,
CMOS,
hey, you got
they
CMOS,
do
I'm
this.
feeling COVID, all that
Flush
stuff.
it
As a
out.
chiropractor,
Yeah.
I deal more with the trauma. And trauma doesn't necessarily mean you get hit by a car. Something is out of place, it's not functioning properly. Like when your bone goes out of place and it's not functioning properly, every time you take a step, it's causing trauma within that joint. So my job is to correct that trauma, to take you out of like that dis-ease phase so you can actually heal. And then you have the thoughts, which is what we're talking about, the psychosomatic aspect of it.
Sick.
So those are the three things, in my opinion. If you can take care of those three things, you more than likely are going to stay healthy.
Do you have a TikTok?
I do, but don't ask me the name because I don't remember it.
Okay.
You would really do so well on TikTok because a lot of people want to learn and understand, and they just don't know. Like how we're sitting here asking you a question. Literally, there are millions of people that want to know.
Okay.
That don't know, but we need to know and understand. I feel like having a chiropractor should go hand in hand growing up.
All right, so you mentioned something a little bit earlier about the 3 T's, right? Explain to me what those are, because I do have a question in regards to these T's, right? I got a question.
So, like I was saying earlier, I was like, disease. When you think about any disease, there's 3 things that's going to cause it, in my opinion, again.
Okay.
Thoughts, toxins, trauma. Thoughts, when you're dealing with stress, always thinking about something, it can definitely affect the chemicals that's released in the body, which can eventually affect other things. It's a cascade of effect. Like once this chemical gets thrown off, the hormones get thrown off, everything just fall. It's a domino.
Gotcha.
That's thought. Toxins, what we put in our body. I'm talking about day to day, like eating, drinking, even literally walking outside, driving outside. Every time when you think about it, a lot of things we don't think about is like every time you hit that brake on your car, brake pad, most of them are made from asbestos. We ingest and all that stuff. So that's toxins. It's coming from everywhere.
Damn, I didn't think of that.
Never thought of that,
there's-
but I get
toxins
it.
are everywhere, whether it's pollution, everything.
Look at China, how they were like masked up 10 years ago before we were.
And the last one, like I said, trauma.
because
seen
of
some
so
movies,
many
but we're not talking
the
about that. That's the
pollution.
movie now.
There's so many people there, so you're gonna get even more toxins in the
And
air.
I think well, to digress, in that case, it's just more like if you're sick, normally keep this.
No, I think
And
it was
it's just-
deeper than that.
it's-
I think
it's
it was the
respect.
air. No,
really?
for China, yeah, they know.
I've always thought it was more or
They
less
know.
respect. If you're sick, make sure you wear
No.
something because
There was
they
mil-
actually are very self-conscious. Where if I'm sick, I don't want people to be sick. America was more
Totally.
selfish.
Yes,
Gotcha,
but
If
gotcha.
I'm
China,
sick,
but,
like if my kid's sick,
no,
I mean I gotta work, so I still gotta send them to daycare.
We
Whereas
more-
China is like,
I-
we
I'm
more
sick.
expensive. That's why.
Yeah,
Boys,
things
that's
are
another
expensive.
story.
no, I
Okay.
disagree. I think China knew ahead of time that we pass diseases so much more as there's more people around,
There's
more
movies
cars.
about this
I
too.
No,
you
like,
might be right in that
I'm
sense.
telling
You
you.
see them wearing masks.
They've been
more.
doing that
yeah.
prior to it.
People-
It wasn't because of sickness. It
and
was
they've done it
because
for-
their air is toxin, so they want to create another sun. They want to create another whole atmosphere. They've been on that.
We're not even talking about TikTok in China. We're
Stop.
not gonna talk about that. But what's the third T? You said
The
toxin.
third one's trauma, but trauma, a lot of people think trauma just means you have to fall down, you have to be hit by a car. Trauma can fall into different aspects. Trauma just means repetitive injury to whether it's a joint
Gotcha,
space, it could be anything. So trauma can, like I was saying earlier, trauma can be as simple as fixation. When you limp, for instance, you're creating trauma because every time you limp, the bad leg is not suffering, the good one is suffering because it's working twice as hard. So
Gotcha.
there's
Wow.
trauma into that joint. So when you talk about someone with like osteoarthritis, early onset of osteoarthritis, why? Like I played football my whole life and I was injured and I did this and this is how I coped. It's trauma after trauma after trauma. And like I said, trauma robs you of everything. Just disease robs you of everything. So
Yeah,
that's why I was like, you have to take trauma and you have to like open it up a little bit. Trauma is not just I got into a car accident. I fell down the stairs. I mean, trauma is just day to day, just you living life day to day.
Gotcha. So
Totally.
I actually, expound on the three T's because I read heavily. of
Well,
course,
before
so-
you do that, can you say the three T's, the words again?
So we
trauma,
have thoughts,
thoughts,
toxins, and trauma.
thoughts, toxins, and
And trauma.
trauma. Wow.
Okay, gotcha. So, in one of the books I read, this is my first book I ever read, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T.R. Vecker. You heard me say that before?
Yes.
Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. It talks about where thoughts come from, right? Where our programming comes, because everything comes from a program, right? Programming leads to thoughts. Thoughts leads to actions. Actions lead to results, right?
Okay.
So the T, thoughts. Thoughts, how do you program yourself, right? Look at it like if you're watching TV all day or you're listening to the same type of head-banging music all day, right? You're watching Love and Hip Hop. We all know what that looks like,
Yeah.
right?
Trauma.
Trauma. Because
Just
you're
a
seeing people
lot.
that look just like you, but they're going through BS. All they're doing is arguing. Fake asses. Oh, sorry about that. Fake booty, fake butts everywhere,
But
right?
yeah,
Money,
because-
all that. You know what I'm saying? You're seeing that, and now that causes trauma also. But at the same time, that's a part of your programming, right? So that also directs your thoughts. And then let's say you're in the car, you're listening to that type of music also, killing. What is it? I don't want to say raping. Killing,
Yeah, but bad
stealing
messages,
stealing
taking
the
someone's
girl.
woman.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so these are part of your thoughts, but they come from your programming. So how you program yourself is one way of how you're going to think, of course, right? Because if you're someone like, how do you wake up? How do you wake up?
For instance, I know there's a lot of stuff you just can't escape. It's around you. So, like, I'm not gonna bad talk musicians. You can definitely try to listen to less consciously. Unconscious is gonna be around you. Like, you go to a club, you're gonna listen to it regardless.
Correct.
So you can't miss that. But like, the idea is like, don't actively actually bring those things on yourself. Like,
Don't
if
submit
I'm in
to the
car,
message.
That's what I'm
like,
getting
I would
at.
rather
So, yeah, there
listen
you
to
go.
something more positive, or like, watch things. If I can help it, watch things more positive. Even though trauma sometimes sells and it's entertaining, but the idea is not to live the trauma. Because like I said, you live it. When we think about people that get stressed out, and then let's just talk about stress, for instance. Stress releases cortisol. Cortisol, in small quantity, is supposed to be helpful. When you're stressed out, cortisol is good for you. But if
And
you
when
can't
it's
turn it
cortisol,
off,
that's when you like,
Is that like adrenaline or something
or
like that?
a needle.
No, cortisol is
to your
something that's
muscle to
released.
relax.
it
okay.
releases. It's something that's released during stressful period.
Like serotonin.
And it's supposed to be good for you.
So is it a natural?
It's natural, like
Okay.
something that's released by the body. It's
Okay.
natural and it's good for you.
I never knew that.
However, when you can turn it off, then it becomes bad. So when you talk about someone that's like, I've got that midsection weight that I just can't get rid of because I'm stressed all the time. So my cortisol level is like so high that I can't get rid of it. So you have heard that expression like cortisol leads to weight gain and all that stuff. So if you can turn off the stress in your life, again, it goes back to the hormones. Hormones are something that you cannot, you can't say, I want to turn this off. It's your body's doing it unconsciously. And that unconscious behavior is based on how you feel. You know what I mean? Like,
Gotcha.
your limbic system, which is a part that controls your emotion and all that stuff, it's somewhat tied to your, come on, it's been years since I left school, so I'm trying to think like all these connections that I normally used to, like, when I was in school that I learned, like,
I honestly thought
like your immunolimbic system, so your immune system and your limbic system are somewhat kind of like connected. So the more stressed you are, the more it actually affects your immune system. So when you think about immune suppression, if I'm stressed all the time, my immune gets suppressed, it's easier for me to get disease because
you're weak.
My immune system
you're
that's
prone.
supposed to fight is down.
And that's a mental
due
thing
to my
too.
stress level. But if I'm happy, and there's a lot of research that's done where people get much better, much quicker, depending on the attitude. So if it's positive, they get better quicker. Even after surgery, if it's negative, it's like it goes on for a long time. And they just can't seem to get better. So attitude and the way you feel affects overall how your body reacts to every day-to-day trauma or stresses.